The next wonderful moment that is coming to all of you is that Sharon, and you've heard her speak a little already, so you know what a treat that is. Sharon Hawkins Leyden, our executive director, is going to say a few words, and I am so looking forward to hearing you.
Good evening. The accent is British, so you don't have to worry about whether I'm from Australia or Ireland or any of those great places. So I will say some words a little strangely, if I can see. As Yay enters its 10th year of operation, I am struck by how the times have changed. 9 years ago, it seemed obvious, with some effort, maybe naively so, that we could provide a warm, safe place for youth to sleep off of our streets. And with some more effort, those same youth would be able to engage in meaningful and productive lives. Over the past 9 years, this has in fact happened to hundreds of youth. Perhaps it's taken a little bit more than some effort, but it's been happening. But it's getting more difficult to sustain every year, and that's because the times have really changed. As you know, the world is rapidly changing, and it seems to be getting more and more uncertain as to what the future holds. In fact, we might be witnessing some real game changes. We are surrounded by the global implosion of the financial markets. Europe is on the precipice. And here in the United States, we seem to lunge from crisis to crisis with little political will to solve our problems. The writer Michael Lewis of Moneyball and The Blind Side fame couldn't be here tonight as he's on a book tour. But I just read his latest book called Boomerang: Travels in the New Third World. He looks at the financial catastrophes of Iceland, Ireland, and Greece. He lays out in detail how much financial trouble those countries are in, especially Greece. And in the last chapter, Michael turns the lens on the United States. He interviews an influential Wall Street analyst, Meredith Whitney, who has spent the last 2 years researching and ranking each state in the United States into zones of financial security and financial crisis. Meredith wanted to get a sense of who in America was likely to play the role of Greece. To quote Michael Lewis, "So Meredith, what's the scariest state?" She had only to think for about 2 seconds. California. Michael goes on to document specific examples in California and uses Vallejo, which is a bankrupt city 21 miles from here. Now, you might be wondering why this has anything to do with Yay. Well, what we have been witnessing at Yay is a microcosm of this. In the past 4 years, there has been a decline in funding. First, we watched foundations implode. And now we have felt the slow trickle-down effects from the federal government to the states to the cities. The city of Berkeley, as committed as it is to safety net issues, no longer has the resources to provide for all of these services. In the San Francisco Chronicle last week, the cost of living increased 19.8% in Alameda County since 2008. With cities cutting funding to nonprofits, or even if funding remains constant, the cost of doing business has increased at least 20%, while income has stayed static or dropped. This means that to provide the same services, it costs more each year. The other factor we see is as governments give out less money, the expected outcomes increase. 9 years ago, Yay provided shelter to 100 youth. Now we provide shelter to 100 youth and are expected to house 30% of those youth in permanent housing within 60 days of entering our shelter. So, what is the need like these days? Last year, we saw 131 different youth and our intake closed after 1 month. We saw many more youth showing up to eat food at dinner time. We saw the cost of a one-bedroom apartment rise to an average of $1,200 a month, and youth employment in the United States right now is 18.4%, double the national average, and it is 31% if you are an African American youth. Still, 33% of the youth that come to our shelter have not finished high school. And still 40%, like Mayor Bates said, are straight out of the foster care system with nowhere to go and no one in their corner. And astonishingly, 82% have no source of income at all. So we have the worst combination: shrinking resources and greater demands than ever. So, am I pessimistic? Sometimes, but not right now. You have all taken your precious Sunday night and paid good money to come here because you believe in this mission. We stand at a crossroads as a society and as an organization. We need a new way forward. We cannot continue to write grants and spend grants, although we will do that, but it is too precarious as a long-term strategy. We need to find new ways to generate money. As Dr. Paul Farmer says, the poor needed to be included in this process. We can no longer afford on any level to provide everything to our youth. Our youth may not have the education they are entitled to, but they are incredibly talented, and if you haven't noticed, have lots of energy. We need to train them, teach them, deploy them to create businesses and generate incomes. We need to provide them on a daily basis with the skills they need to succeed in this uncertain future. Keeping the shelter open year-round is a crucial first step in this model. Now we will be able to work with the youth to make individual action plans. Each youth will be paired with a staff member to set goals, report progress, brainstorm solutions, and have their own personal cheering squad. Each youth will do chores that are skill acquisition based. Each youth will be held accountable to their goals, not to ours. In return, ye will need community champions such as yourselves, people who will again step in to volunteer and to mentor in the shelter 12 months a year, not 6. We will need financial champions who will pledge money yearly, and we are launching a campaign in the coming months to ask 100 people to pledge $1,000 a year for a minimum of 5 years to fill in the gaps that our city and our state can no longer afford to do. We will need advocates who will explain to people in our community why it's so important to work with our young people now, not 10 years from now. To that effect, we will be hosting community forums beginning in the new year to bring diverse community members together to talk about new ways forward. Ye has always had this vision. This is not new, but the times have changed, and we need to step up this vision now. Unlike 9 years ago when 4 women naively held hands in a City of Berkeley elevator and actually asked the mayor for $9,999 because they said you can't get more than 10. We have 9 years of experience. We know what works for our youth. We know how to do it. It's important work. It's potentially life-saving. It's possible to make a difference. It's possible to make changes that last for a lifetime. Tonight we are making it happen. I thank you all for your efforts over the last 9 years, and I ask you to please stand with us as we enter the next crucial decade. Together, we are better. Thank you.